This is the video for 10-10 note solving a system of equations. Remember, a system of equations means that you're going to be having two different graphs on one side of graph paper. In this case, we're going to be talking about when we have one line and one quadratic. So we have a line and a parabola. Ignore this saying 8-8. That's not true. The pictures below just show us the first picture is a picture of a line, second picture is the picture of the parabola or the quadratic equation, and then together if we graph them on the same set of axes, that is going to be a system. Now the way we solve a system, guys, remember, is where those lines cross each other. So the solutions are no longer where the parabola is crossing the x-axis. When we're dealing with the system, it's where the two graphs cross each other. Okay, very easy to graph these. All you need to do is plug both of them into your calculator, into your y equals, maybe write out your table and then graph those points. While you're doing that, I'm going to list out my table for the parabola. Okay, so I'm going to plot those. If you need to pause the video, as always, feel free. Hopefully your graph looks a little better than mine. You could also type the linear equation into your calculator, do the same thing, copy your table, plot the points. But remember, we can also plot this by knowing that -2 is our y-intercept, slope is up to right 1. And you'll kind of start to notice how far you need to take this line. Because remember, the whole point is you need to find where these things are going to cross. Okay, so it looks like I have them crossing at 2 points here. Again, you're looking for where the two lines are crossing each other. And then to get your answer, all you need to do is just list those out as coordinate points. So one of them is -1, -4. And the other is 4, 6. Okay, number 2, type this quadratic into your calculator, get a table. I'll start writing my table out. And plot those points. And then in order to graph this linear equation here, remember this needs to be in y equals form to be able to put it in your calculator, or in y equals mx plus b form to be able to just plot it using the y-intercept and the slope. So I'm just going to subtract x from both sides here to get this in y equals mx plus b form. So that is what I'm going to be graphing. Y-intercept is at +4. Which we already have one point that this is going to cross. Slope is -1, so down 1, right 1. And remember, you don't have to plot the point, every single point for that line. Your main concern is you want to find where these things are crossing. And it looks like I messed up my parabola, so I'm going to try that again. Let's try those points again. Okay, -2, -4, 1, 2, 3, 4. -1, +1. There, that's better. And then my line, y-intercept at 4, down 1, right 1. And just by plotting that little bit of that line, I do find the 2 points where they cross. One of them is at 0, 4, and the other is at 3, 1. Just make sure on your graphs that your parabolas have arrows at the end and your line has arrows at both ends, just to show that even though the graph paper stops, that doesn't mean that the lines actually stop. Okay, for number 3, if f of x equals x squared minus 2x minus 8 and g of x is 1/4 x minus 1, for which value of x is f of x equal to g of x? So this is asking, where do these two lines cross? One is going to be a parabola, one's going to be a line. Really easy way to do this in your calculator, and I'm sorry I don't have a calculator screen to show you, but I'll write down your steps here. So you're going to plug both into your y equals. You're going to graph them in your calculator. So just hit the graph button. If you hit second, then trace, one of the options will say intersect. And then it's going to take you through the process. It's going to say first curve, second curve, guess. You can just keep hitting enter until you get to your answer. The first curve, second curve wants to make sure that your cursor on your calculator screen is on your first graph. Then once you hit enter, then it's on your second graph. Your calculator is kind of formulated to do that by default. So just hit enter until you get to guess, hit enter again, and it will tell you the x values that these two things are crossing at. It should be at choice 2, -1.75 and 4. Okay, so obviously this has two intersection points. You're going to have to kind of go towards both of those intersection points with your cursor on your calculator to show both of those. You could also kind of just look at the picture of the graph on your calculator to see around where these two things are intersecting, just to kind of give you a good idea of which choice you should be picking. All right, number 4, we have two functions, f of x and g of x, graphed on the axis. For which value of x is f of x not equal to g of x? So these values that they're giving us in the choices are x values. So let's take a look. Add an x value of -1. Okay, x value of -1 means from the origin go to the left one. If you follow up to where your graphs are, you'll notice that that is an intersection point of these two functions. They want to know when are they not equal, so choice 1 is not correct. Choice 2 says +2. If I go over 2 to the right from the origin, notice that there's an intersection point there as well, so choice 2 is not our answer. Choice 3 says +3, so we're going to go to the right 3. Our line is here at 3, and our kind of curved shape graph here at 3 is going to be like somewhere up here. So that is a place at which these two graphs are not equal. And then just to go to choice 4, x value of -2, go to the left 2, and you'll notice that that also is an intersection point. So for that question, guys, all you need to do is go to that x value on your graph and kind of follow it up to where the actual graphs are. Okay, so that one was choice 3. All right, last one, number 5. I couldn't fit the question and the graph on here all at once, but it says graph both of these, f of x and g of x, on the same set of axes, and then determine and state the values of x for which they're equal. So they want to know where are they crossing. So you can go ahead and type each of those into your y equals, or maybe just type f of x into your y equals, copy down your table, plot the points, and then plot your line. I'll start doing that. If you need to pause the video so that you can try it on your own and then check your answer, please feel free to do that. So this is going to be the table for that parabola, the 2x squared minus 8x plus 3. Okay, so this is what our parabola looks like. And then our line, g of x, is negative 2x plus 3, so y-intercept is at 3. We already found one point that they intersect. Slope is negative 2, so down to right 1, down to right 1. And look at that, I found another place that they intersect. So it's these 2 points here. Now it says determine and state all the values for x at which they are equal. So they just want the x values where these things cross. So the first one here is going to be at an x value of 0. And here this x value would be positive 3. Next 2 or 3 pages are homework questions if you want to try those out. The answer key is posted on Schoology for not only the notes but the homework.